Hey guys, Lucas here in Vintage Sword Post, and today we're finally going to go over the Army Combat Belt. It's a newer piece of kit that has been put out in the last maybe year or two, year probably at most, but it's a pretty cool piece of kit. I had some serious misgivings about it at first, but closer look at it, there are some parts of it I do really like, and there are some parts that are just like, why did you do it this way? So we're going to dig into this belt today, take a look at it, give you an idea if this is something that's worth your time and money if you're not in the Army and getting issued this. So let's dig into what it's properly called, which is the U.S. Army Close Combat Set Belt System, or something of those words. So yeah, let's dig into this thing. So to dig into this belt a little bit, the Army stuck with what it knows. And what it knows is the FLC belt, or the Fighting Load Carrier, the belt that you can take out of the flick. They took that and they made a belt pretty much based heavily off that. Now that means it's really adjustable. You can adjust this thing down no matter what size you are. So the belts are one size, which is pretty nice. Between the adjustments in the back end and then just having the adjustable buckle up front, you can get this thing to size anywhere and anyhow you want it. And you can wear it over layers, or you can wear it as it also is made to be worn as a two-piece belt system. So it has an inner belt you can wear as just a regular belt, and you can throw this thing on top of it and get it secured down. So that's pretty cool. The part that kind of stinks, well, it doesn't kind of, it does stink. It's one of those things you go, why did you do it this way? What made you think that was a good idea? Is the suspenders. This thing does come with suspenders, but they suck. They work, they do the thing, but compared to what suspenders you're used to having on a belt like this, they're not the same. These are more like pant suspenders, and while they do the job, they're just not great. But we'll dig more into those as we go through the video and the overview on these belts. But something that is nice about these, they're a two-piece belt. You can wear it however you want. These were made to support the newer M250 and the yet to be fully adopted M7 rifle. So they're made to support that. The pouch suite that comes as part of the close combat set is made to support the M7, the M250. Those are, they're not bad pouches. The M250 pouches are the best out of that. Everything else is kind of like whatever. But M250, 50 round and 100 round are nice. But yeah, enough of that. But the belt was made to support those new weapon systems, so that way soldiers carrying those heavier loadouts, because those rounds for those the rifle and the M250 machine gun are a lot heavier than what we've been carrying for the past 40 years at this point or something like that. So new kit to carry new equipment, support the new rifle and machine gun. So pretty cool, but it does a pretty good job of everything else too. So now let's finally dig into what this belt is made up of. Yeah, the components for this belt, and then we'll go into the example loadout I have based on what my thought is on the best use for this belt for the individual and average infantryman or support guy that's working directly with infantrymen. So yeah, let's dig into it. All right, so let's see what makes this belt up. It's multi-component, which is nice, but you know, it also adds a layer of complexity for the Army to have to figure out. So first off, we have our outer sleeve. And like I said, it's very much FLC-like. So you have your kind of like standard big old buckle. FLC has a different one, obviously, but a nice heavy-duty buckle. I mean, you could replace this if you wanted to with like a Cobra or something nicer. As it is, it does the job fine. And then going through, you have, what was it, 9 columns of MOLLE webbing, 2 high, so 2 rows of that. So plenty of webbing, and that matches the FLC wings. By 1 more than the FLC typically has. The FLC typically has 8. 1 more row or 1 more column of MOLLE for gear. So you can see they just really stuck with what they knew, which is the FLC. But going around, same thing on that side. On the inside, you see where the inner belt will interface with the outer sleeve, or outer belt, I should say. Something to note here is on the outer, it is soft side hook and loop, so it's the loop. And then on the inner, it is the hook, which is that hard side. So that is nice, because if you're wearing this over clothing like I am now, it's not going to rub, not going to scratch, not going to, create, rub spots or anything like that. It's not going to wear through your clothing, and biggest thing, it's not going to be loud. So if you are wearing this just as like an outer kind of battle belt, war belt setup like I am, you're not rubbing too hard on your clothing. That is nice. But if you are going to replace the inner belt, because the inner belt it does the job. It's nothing fancy. But if you're going to replace that, you need to pay attention and make sure that inner belt that you're getting to replace it is hard side or hook instead of the typical soft side inner belt. So that's just something to note, keep aware of, pay attention to. Next, to go to the adjustments of this belt, what makes it so great is just like the FLC, this has those tabs that allow you to spread this thing in and out. So that makes it really, really adjustable. So I can set up one belt and have it adjustable for if I'm wearing winter clothes, hot weather, everything in between. If I want to wear it just as a belt on top of my inner belt with interfacing with that, I can adjust it really easily. I just lose out on that back end space, which is fine. If you're in the Army, you're getting in and out of vehicles a lot. Having nothing in the back is quite convenient. So having that back space open makes you more comfortable at the end of the day. It makes it nicer to wear packs with this. But yeah, that's how you adjust it. You just take those tabs out, slide the sleeve over the inner stiffener, and you're fine. And this thing is stiffened. It does have a nice stiffener in there, so you can put a good bit of weight on here. It's gonna carry it just fine for how wide it is. It's not gonna flop. You can put a lot of weight. That is nice. So that's the outer belt, all the features of that. Along with this belt are three other things. First off, you have the inner belt like we talked about. It's nothing special. We'll get a clip of me just wearing it. It does the trick, does the job. That's all it does though. Keep your pants up, put your belt on your pants. Next up is something that goes with a component of the close combat set, and there's this drop leg. It's improved version of the old pistol drop legs that the Army gave out a lot. It's got an elastic strap, go around your leg, adjustable to an extent, and this just hangs off your belt. This is made to go with the new Army dump pouch. We haven't covered anything on there yet. It's a big dump pouch. It does a trick. I'm glad the Army came out with the dump pouch. It's a little weird. They went a little weird of a route with it, but they made it to be mounted to this drop leg, so that way it stiffens it up and you have a nice, very large dump pouch. That's what this is for. You could use it for other things. If you wanted to molly mount a holster to this and have a drop leg that goes right with your belt, you could. But other than that, this is kind of one of those pieces where you can just kind of throw aside. And the last part, which we'll get into in a little bit more, is the suspenders. As you can see, they're not normal. It's just an X yoke, if I can get it out. Goodness gracious, I don't like these things. This is what made me kind of hate this belt to begin with, and then just taking the suspenders off and not thinking about using them, I like a little more. But they are very simple, which I guess is a good thing. They're very thin, which is a good thing, but they are wide. So you can wear this under armor, wear it under your tap, and not have straps all kind of like going crazy. That's the only really advantage I see with these, is that if you're wearing it under armor or with the chest rig or some other components of kit, these straps aren't going to get tangled up or interfere with other straps. Other than that though, they're kind of junky. They have G hooks for attaching to your belt. So there's 2 points, so you can kind of adjust where it's going to sit on your belt line, and they just hook in like a G hook, and the weight of your belt is going to keep these things in there solidly. Not too much of an issue. G hooks don't really slide out easy. You know, I can wiggle this thing all around with no weight. It's not going to come out super easy. So that's nice. It makes it easy to take it on and off. No buckles to worry about. Nothing to break there. But yeah, we'll look at more of these and how they sit on you here in a few minutes. So that's the belt as it is. Pretty simple. It's not too bad. And I think where it really struggles to be good is wearing with suspenders. But there are some really good ways to wear this. And I think primarily that is just for the average infantryman or guys supporting infantry, working directly along with them, to wear just as a first line piece of kit, to wear as a battle belt to support their tap or their plate carrier, whatever chest rig they're wearing. Or you could just deck this thing out completely and carry most of your kit on there. So I've set mine up to support this tap, basic tap, nothing too crazy with it. So let's dig into the belt, how it's set up, and what I've done to make it work best for me. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to leave a comment below what you think of this one and what you want to see in the future. That way we know we're getting the best content for you out there. So leave some comments below, give us some feedback on what you'd like to see and what you'd like to see done better as well. While you're watching, or once you're done watching, head over to the website, use coupon code Minuteman for 10% off your next order. More details about that below in the caption. But otherwise, let's get back to the video. All right, so getting this loadout I have here, I want to reiterate, this is where I think most guys are going to get their best use out of it, is if they're wearing it as a first line or battle belt, war belt, however you want to call it, and they're the average infantrymen having to carry around and lug around a little bit extra stuff. They want to distribute what they've got on their tap or their plate carrier. onto their belt line. This is a good issued way to do that. Also good if you're a machine gunner, like this was intended for. If you're carrying, a lot of ammo on your belt line, it's a good way to get it off your chest rig, your tap, your plate carrier, put on your belt line so it's easier to carry. And then you could wear the suspenders with it and to get a little better weight distribution and just more comfort on a longer term basis. But average infantryman, what I'm trying to represent here, let's go over this loadout. First thing with this is I made one little upgrade is I've taken the padded section from a Condor LCS belt, that padded inner that comes with those, and the hook and loop interface properly with this belt, and I just put it on here. And so that way I can wear it over my clothing. It's gonna be a little padded, it's gonna be pretty comfortable. I can put a good weight on there. It's gonna sit on my hips nicely, and it's not just gonna, move around as I'm carrying it around. So that's a good way if you have one of those laying around, or if you want to get a padded, inner for this. I think it's a good option to really get a lot more out of this belt if you're wearing it as a war belt type deal. But yeah, that's that. So to go in this loadout, pretty simple, pretty basic, using all issued components. So yeah, all stuff you can get in the Army except for the tourniquet pouch, and the Army has their own tourniquet pouch. Right here, I got 2 double mags. These I have 1 per, but easily allows me to plus up from 2 to 4 mags right here on my belt if I need to carry additional ammo for some reason, something like that happening. But yeah, 2 mags right there in double mags. Get to them plenty fast, plenty easy. From there, IFAC, I'm actually using a M250 50 round pouch. That's part of this close combat set as my IFAC pouch. I really do like these. It's a slight upgrade from the old 100 rounders and the old IFAC pouches into something with an adjustable buckle. It sits a little differently as far as overall shape than the old 100 rounders, but it is a pretty nice pouch and essentially replicates those in a newer form and fashion in OCP. From here, you see I have the empty section in the back end where I can make my adjustments, just like on an FLC with the belt in there. Left that blank, because that way I can adjust this thing out if I want to. If I'm wearing thicker clothing for the winter, when I'm wearing hot weather clothing, I can take it in some. And 3, or C, whatever I'm on these days, if I'm sitting in a vehicle, that's gonna make it more comfortable. I did a lot of time running in and out of MATVs and Max Bros on deployments, and having to take your belt off and put it back on when you're getting in and out is really annoying. It takes extra time. So being able to just sit in a vehicle, this allows you to do that and kind of makes you have to be able to do that, which is nice. So yeah, from there, canteen pouch, nothing too crazy going on there. Just keep 1 cord on my belt line. Tourniquet pouch, this is a Marine Corps one. The Army has their own, a little different. And then a grenade pouch holding my compass, cut over the compass. I could put a smoke grenade there. I could put more mags there. But yeah, that's a pretty simple loadout that can support the average infantryman. But I think this is where it really shines, is just as a war belt worn, around your waist and getting you where you need to go a little better because you redistributed your weight. So let's take a look at this worn with the inner belt and this worn with suspenders. All right, so now I have the suspenders on. And as you can see, they aren't your typical suspenders. They're more like your level 6, level 7 suspenders on your clothing, or just old pant suspenders. So they sit at your sides at your 3 and your 9, and there's a little room for adjustment as far as bringing them forward if your belt's really cinched in, if you're a really skinny guy. So there's a little bit of adjustability there when it comes to that, where they're worn, but otherwise they kind of sit like this. Now, like I said, this is kind of good if you're wearing a chest rig with it, wearing your body armor with it, or other components that have a lot of straps. These thin straps that are not in your typical kind of spot, it is nice, but I think they just should have gone with typical or your more standard suspenders or yoke kind of setup for this belt if their intention was for it to really be worn with them. Whatever, I mean, some general will get an OER bullet probably for it, so yeah. But that's the suspenders. They work, but I don't think they do as good of a job as they can, and they kind of make a weird pivot point. If you're not wearing this like something grippy on the inside to really hold it down, if you had a lot of weight, this could pivot just because it's on 2 points, just on the sides. So it is what it is. That's the worst part about it. That's what took me getting over to like this belt, was that I don't have to wear suspenders. I can wear it standalone and be just fine. So those are that. Let's get into wearing it with an inner belt. So this is the inner belt. It's pretty simple. There's no buckle, no G-hook, no hook or anything like that. You just weave it through and you fold it over or lay it over itself and it secures in there. So if you're wearing this as an inner belt, it's gonna make a good inner belt. It's nothing to it. It's pretty simple, but it does the trick. It does the job plenty well. If you wanted to replace this, just remember, you need a hard side loop, the hook on the inner belt rather than the typical soft side. Just Remember that though, if you want to replace it. Other than that, it does the job. Because the belt, the outer, the back end is bare of hook and loop, so is the belt. So on the back side here, there's no hook and loop to kind of, secure anything to. It's just on the sides, just like with the belt. And so as per usual, get your belt on there, and it's secure to your waist, and it's not gonna move around too hard. It's gonna sit just where you want it to on your waist. But that's pretty fine. It does the thing. Inner belt works. It's nice. They made it a two-piece system. For an issued one, it's about, I guess, the best you could expect as far as how they would go with the two-piece. Being based heavily off the flick belt, it works. It does the trick just fine. It's a good outer belt to go with a working inner belt. So yeah, let's close this video up because we've gone over everything already. All right, so that's the Army Close Combat belt set system in a nutshell. It's a pretty decent belt overall. I think, the suspenders aside, it does everything it needs to, and it can carry a pretty heavy load, which I think a lot of belts these days, especially those two-piece belts, that's something they're lacking. Like, yes, you can put a lot on them, but it's doing so comfortably over a long period of time rather than, kicking in a door and leaving 30 minutes later, and that was a time extent that you wore that belt. This is a good job. You can wear it all day long with the heavy load on, and you're gonna be, pretty well off. So that's the belt. Hope you like this one. If you're looking for a new belt, I think this is a good option if you want something that's really, really solid and can do the trick, and it can multi-function as a outer kind of war belt, or combined with your inner belt as a pistol / just battle belt kind of combo. And then if you really want to, you can wear suspenders, or you can figure out your own way to wear suspenders by weaving your own harness in there with it. So, because the one that comes with it works, but as we saw, it's just not great. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Make sure to head on over, pick one of these up if you want one. Check out everything else we got. As of posting, pretty much all these pouches are in stock, which has been a while since we had some of these pouches. So if you've been looking for one, make sure to head over, pick them up. Otherwise, see you in the next one.